Welcome back to This is VANCOLOUR. Tough week? Well, it's not just you. When we roll the clocks back and return to standard time, the ripple effects are real. Physical, psychological, and social. And with the shorter days and endless gray skies, something darker, literally and figuratively, tends to creep in. Some people call it SAD, Seasonal Affective Disorder. That seasonal slump that hits when daylight disappears and the mood follows. Fatigue, irritability, social withdrawal, weight gain, the whole why do I even bother vibe. But it doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to take a rain check on happiness, at least according to our next guest. She's a health and fitness powerhouse, the CEO of Aeryon Wellness, Aeryon Ashlie. Aeryon, so nice to see you. Thanks for being here.
Nice to see you too. Thanks for having me.
So when we think of SAD, seasonal affective disorder, is this normal?
Well, first, actually, it's not normal. SAD is actually...
It's not normal.
No, it's not. So
Okay.
SAD is really regarded as a form of depression. So if this is something you are experiencing, it's really important that you're actually going to meet with your family physician or some sort of healthcare practitioner, because it can really affect your overall life, your mood, your sleep, your relationships, work, everything. So it's
Don't
really
take advice from
important.
a TV host, is what you're saying, if you are clinically diagnosed with SAD.
So make sure
Okay.
you're actually going to go speak to somebody. If this is
Yeah.
something you're experiencing long term.
Yeah.
Now, what we're really talking about is the winter blues.
Okay.
And so that affects 10 to 20% of us. And what's interesting is actually really stems from more of a hormonal imbalance. It can stem from more of a hormonal imbalance because our biological clock kind of gets affected when it's darker out. We don't have as much light.
Right.
We don't have as much light. We have more melatonin our body's producing, which is our sleepy hormone, right? And
why I'm
what
tired
ends
all the
up-
time.
That's why you're tired all the time. And then what ends up happening is serotonin. Serotonin is our happy hormone, and that's produced when sunlight hits our eyes and goes into our brain. So we have less sunlight, which means we have less serotonin. So less of that happy hormone, more of that sleepy hormone, which leaves us in this kind of slumpy, maybe sluggish state.
Okay, so this is a really great distinction. So we will set aside seasonal
Yeah.
affective disorder and we'll talk about the winter blues, which I
Yes.
feel like is a little more common.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
okay.
very much so.
So what kind of lifestyle or habit changes can I make to resist those effects of, less sunlight?
I think the big one is to have a consistent schedule, right?
Okay.
I think a lot of the time we will maybe kind of stay in our house more, put the jogging pants on more,
Yeah.
not go out as much. We really need to make sure we're consistently having a social network, which is really, really important. Getting out of the house, meeting your friends and family, having good nutritious food, getting that whole grains, making sure you're getting your 30 grams of protein,
Okay.
working out.
Stuff that I feel like I should be
Right?
doing
All the
regularly
stuff we should be
anyways.
doing regularly.
Yeah,
So really
okay.
keeping that regular program is
Yeah.
really important. Also light as well is really important. So if you have a house, my old place I used to live in, we didn't have much light in the living room. So I had more lights put into the house, some more pot lights put into the house. I had more lamps in the
So
house.
even artificial lights
Yeah,
still
even
do
just
the
some
trick?
sort of light. You do want outdoor light. So you want to make sure you're going for walks and getting outdoors, but creating a little bit more light and space. And then also you can get the light therapy box as well. Those tend to work too.
They do work.
Yes.
It's not just like some
I used to have one. So
gimmick.
it did help. Yes, for sure. It did help.
Okay, interesting. I feel like when people talk about self-care, this ends up being a really big umbrella that includes things like comfort food, perhaps some overeating, maybe even a little bed rot.
Yeah.
How do I make sure I'm practicing self-care without getting into those traps of things that might actually make it worse?
Well, I'm all for a bed rot, to be honest with
Okay.
you. Once in a while, a good bed rot is worth it.
Okay, yeah,
Put
yeah.
the comfy clothes on, order Netflix, watch some Netflix, order some good food, and really take a day for yourself. I think that's okay. It's if it goes on and on and on, that's when you really want to make sure that's not happening. And so the big thing is social. The social network is really important. Making sure you're getting out, making sure you have plans, something to look forward to. I have at least one concert a month that I'm going to that really kind of gives me something exciting to get out, make sure I'm doing something. And seeing your friends is also really important too. And then working out, right? Working
Yeah.
out creates that endorphins. And this morning I woke up at 4 a.m. because I usually get up at 5 a.m. So luckily this hour is actually not too rough for us, although it's
Okay.
getting darker. So if you have been waking up earlier and feeling a little better this week, utilize that and get to the gym and start a good exercise routine because now's a great time to do it.
Interesting. Okay. Now, I know that you can't really find happiness in a pill, but are there some accessible, perhaps supplements? I know obviously you sell supplements, but are there things that we should be looking at that may give us a little extra edge or a little extra boost during this time?
100%.
Okay.
We are, as Canadians, the most deficient in vitamin D. So we're the most deficient country in vitamin D.
Really? Out of all the countries?
We are the northern hemisphere, right?
Right.
We have less sunlight.
Yeah.
Sunlight, that's where we get our vitamin D from.
Wow.
So really important whenever I do my lectures or I'm talking to anybody, I'm always like, are you taking a vitamin D? No ifs, ands, or buts. It's a very inexpensive vitamin. You can buy it at any health food store, especially here in Vancouver and Canada. We have great health food stores. So we have a product called Good Day Sunshine. It's 2,500 IUs. That's the recommended daily amount. 13% of Canadians actually are deficient have below the recommended doses from November to March of vitamin D. So during this winter time phase.
Wow.
So vitamin D is the cheapest, easiest one you can get.
Okay.
The other one is probiotics would be a good one. Gut-brain access, right? Looking at taking care of your gut health. If you don't want to take probiotics, getting nice probiotic fermented food.
So that's
that would be
yogurt?
like yogurts, and kimchi and sauerkraut, if you're a sauerkraut person, those kind of things. You can look at, there's other ones, St. John's wort, 5-HTP. We've got saffron. There's so many other supplements that can really support you. And my suggestion would be to go into one of our incredible health food stores that we have here and talk to somebody there. They're very educated and they can support you towards what the best product is for you, but always making sure you have a vitamin D.
When it comes to vitamin D, should I take it at the start of the day or the end of the day or the middle of the day?
I usually take mine with lunch. That's when I take mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it matter or is it just kind of a
I mean, they
preference?
usually say take it earlier in the day. So
Oh,
that
they
would
do?
Be so that'd be the better source. So morning time, as long as you're eating something with it is what you want to do.
And there must be foods that you can get vitamin D from, right? But I know
well, vitamin D comes from sunlight, right? So if we're not
Okay.
getting that sunlight, then that's going to make a big difference. But there are some foods that do contribute to that.
Okay, fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, Aeryon, I appreciate your time tonight, and I appreciate you especially making that distinction between SAD and the winter blues, because I feel like we conflate those two, so that's really important. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on.
Folks, last season, she was here talking about menopause as the silent epidemic. And since then, she's written the book on it, literally. Pick up Navigating Perimenopause by our guest tonight, the CEO of Aeryon Wellness, Aeryon Ashlie. Now, after a little business, it's my turn to sweat a little. A longtime VANCOLOUR fan now stars in his own primetime show, going head-to-head with ours. He's grilled Jan Arden and Russell Peters, and tonight, Lucas Gates from CBC's The Assembly puts me in the hot seat. Up next.